Imagine this. A mother wakes up to the sound of her baby crying. She rushes to the nursery, anxiety filling her, heart pounding. When she goes to comfort her child, something feels off. The baby's eyes are too empty, too hollow, no warmth or familiarity. It's replaced by an icy dread. This isn't her baby. Changelings, according to legend, are sinister creatures that swap places in history with human children. They come from the Fae realm. Motivations vary on the legends you read from. Most have a malevolent motivation. What is it about humans that cause this? This relates to Ishana Shyamalan's debut film, The Watchers, including themes of duplication and voyeurism. But before we get into that, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I drop a video every Tuesday on horror news and do breakdown reviews of old and current horror movies. Now, this is also the spoiler warning. Spoilers are ahead, so let's get into The Watchers. The Watchers is a thriller based off a book title with the same name by author A.M. Shine. The opening takes place as we are introduced to John, who seems to be running to escape the forest that he is stuck within. He comes across a eerie sign that has a winged skeleton with the words "point of no return." As we watch as John is basically turned around in circles, we get a sense that he is trying to run away from someone or something. As the viewers, we watch as John succumbs to a creature we see briefly pulling him into a burrow, potentially to never be seen again. Now, the opening of The Watchers gives you almost a sense of claustrophobia and dread, but the story continues. We're now introduced to our main character, Dakota Fanning's Mina, who is an American living in Ireland. Almost a way to escape from the past, Mina is dealing with the trauma of the death of her mother that happened 15 years ago. She's also estranged from her twin sister Lucy and works at a pet shop during the day and at night disguises herself because she hates herself that much that she'd rather be anyone else but herself. She's then asked to take a beautiful orange, I believe it's called conure bird. She eventually names Darwin to a zoo that's almost about a day drive away. The theme of voyeurism is strong in this movie. We see it with the theme of birds and cages and how we cage these beautiful creatures for our own entertainment, with some of them learning to repeat after us, as we see Darwin does throughout the movie, repeating, "Don't die now." We then follow Mina on her journey as her car breaks down in the middle of the forest with no sight of civilization. She decides then, stupidly in my opinion, to grab Darwin and trail further into the forest, thinking she will find someone after she as well has ran into one of those creepy point of no return signs with a different number on them. We later learn that these signs create a circle in the forest with the context that if you pass it, you are at the point of no return to safety. But Nadia, where does changelings come into play? I know. Just hold your horses. There's a lot of setup here. And honestly, we're not done. Throughout the next few minutes, Mina realizes, well, things are kind of going sideways. It's about to get dark. It's getting colder, and she's hearing a lot of weird noises in the forest. This is where we're introduced to the second character, Madeline. Madeline is an older woman who has Mina follow her into what we later call is a coop, a bunker style building with a mirror on one side. She's also introduced to two additional characters, Kira, who's been missing her husband and has been there for about 5 months, and Daniel, an impulsive young man who's been there nearly 8 months and a few days. She is then thrown into the horror of having to face the mirror and listen as we don't see, but we hear an applause of creatures we learn later are called the Watchers.
What is that? What are they doing? Applause. Oh, you mean it?
What entails in the days ahead is Mina rebelling against the 3 rules Madeline lists. Don't open the door after sunset, don't turn your back to the mirror, and don't go near the burrows. Which 2 of those 3 rules Mina breaks right away. She ends up going into a burrow stealing trophies from the Watchers, who in turn that evening violently try to break the mirror to reach them. During the night, they also use an old VCR recorder to the outside, where the Watchers mask as Kira's missing husband John to entice her to open up the door, where Madeline, with her knowledge of the Watchers, convinces her that this isn't John after the creature's unable to name the book she is reading. It's a heartbreaking scene where Kira realizes that her husband isn't coming back from his journey to escape. Following this, Mina finally agrees to follow the rules as we watch the group try to survive the days and be on display during the evening to the watchers, entertaining themselves with a DVD left of a dating reality show called Lair of Love Season 3, left by a mysterious professor who we later learn created the coop and the hidden bunker that they soon discover. Now, up until this point in the movie, we haven't seen what the Watchers look up close. Just from a distance, sometimes we see them scurry around on the forest floor. It's not until this point where Mina and Madeline are locked out of the bunker by Daniel due to his anger directed towards Madeline. We get this really cool point of view shot from the back as the Watchers approach the coop or bunker, and they stand straight tall, almost 7 to 8 feet tall, lengthy. You don't get an up close of their face, but it did send shivers down my spine watching all of them kind of rise up. This is at the point where Daniel tells them that Madeline and Mina they aren't here as the Watchers start a hunt for them, which ends up with Mina having to convince Daniel to open the door for them, which is a broken rule. After getting more background on Mina, basically explaining why she's not a good person because of the guilt she holds for what happened to her mother and the estranged relationship she has created with her twin sister Lucy. We also finally get a little bit more lore on the Watchers. Madeline explains that they are shape shifting fairies, and their attempt is to learn how to mimic human behavior. The Watchers aren't too happy this evening, which leads to the characters discovering a hidden bunker under their bunker. So basically, a bunker under bunker, and slip away just in time as the Watchers break into the top bunker.
I'm not supposed to be here.
We then learn the history of the bunker, how it was created and built by Professor Roy Kilmartin. He had come to study the creatures, even captured one and bonded with it. There is a really interesting line in this where he says he was having men from different villages who were looking for money to help with the build. 13 men, no more than 13 a day. And he would ask them to have their dinner outside, where he would lock himself in the bunker and hear them being torn apart by the Watchers. In his last entry, he explains to whoever finds his diary how to escape by boat and says he's going to shoot himself and the Watcher he has captured. See, I told you changelings would make sense. We're given a history lesson at some point in this movie of how fairies back in the day lived amongst humans, guarded them, even mated with them. They would even come back as past loved ones. When the group attempted to escape the next day, they run across a fairy circle, which, FYI, don't mess with fairy circles, don't even step in them, where Madeline explains that humans had warred against the fairies, who were then deprived of their wings and driven underground, imprisoned in this forest. What happens next is where I think the movie fell off for me. Kira, Mina, and Madeline escape while Daniel is killed by a Watcher who is mimicking John. I don't know how he fell for that. Once in safety, Mina heads to the professor's office to destroy all his notes, where she learns that humans and fairies produce offsprings that could withstand the daylight. Up until this point, the Watchers were only able to go out at night. And here is the twist, ladies and gentlemen. Upon finding photos of the professor's late wife, it is revealed Madeline, they knew, is actually the captured Watcher. This falls flat in its delivery for me. It doesn't take Mina long to convince the Watcher Madeline not to kill her by simply telling her about her being half human and half fairy, which is then we watch as Madeline grows wings and flies off. Later, Mina reconciles with her twin sister Lucy over the death of their mother, and she says that Madeline, usually in the form of a human child, keeps watch over her still. Understanding that this is Ishan's debut film, I can give some things a pass as a young filmmaker. The elements of voyeurism, duplicity are throughout, with Darwin, Mina being a twin, how the Watchers basically watch their human captives to mimic them. There are definitely some cool scenes, like the one I described earlier, of all the Watchers basically going from scurrying on the floor to standing almost 7 to 8 feet tall. However, there are some downfalls that are pretty strong for me. I think it would have been better to keep the mystery alive of what the Watchers look like. There's a really up close scene of one of them screaming, and I think it takes it away. It's very CGI. The ending kind of felt overkill. I don't think it needed to have more info past the point of discovering Madeline's true identity. And there's some dialogue that just didn't fit, especially when the trio is saved and they get into a weird scene on the bus that they flag down. Ishan is definitely influenced by her father. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing. I do look forward to seeing how her film career grows. Overall, I would say to give The Watchers a stream view, but not a movie ticket view. And for me, I would definitely watch it again because I like folklore tales and mythology. But as an average moviegoer, I think this is a one and done. So thank you all for joining me today on my review of The Watchers. Please leave a comment below what you thought of it if you've seen it. And until next time, everybody, stay spooky.